Imagine sipping your pint when a ghostly whistle cuts through happy hour, spooky, or just a rogue breeze with a bad attitude. Welcome to the Whistling Skull, a pub so haunted even the jukebox refuses to play horror soundtracks. Locals swear every eerie whistle echoing through its creaky walls foretells disaster. Fire in '57, the infamous basement flood of '82, and that legendary day the bar tab printer mysteriously exploded. R.I.P. Ghostly receipts. The rule? Hear the whistle, clutch your pint, and maybe duck for cover. Now let's pour a shot of truth into this spectral ale. Those whistles? Usually just wine squeezing through ancient window panes, dodgy plumbing, or, my personal favorite, a bartender moonlighting as a rusty trombone enthusiast. Yet regular Eddie at the end of the bar insists the spirit's a craft beer snob. He only whistles sadly when I order lager. Definitely prefers the hoppier stuff. At the Whistling Skull, the only real disaster is running out of peanuts mid-round. But with ghost stories on tap, this legendary pub stays packed, because everyone loves a haunting, as long as it comes with a side of existential dread and reasonably priced snacks. Cheers! Beyond the haunting whistles, one regular spirit lingers, refusing to leave his favorite stool. Ever notice that corner bar stool is always occupied, even when the place is empty? Turns out spirits have favorite seats too. After an eternity on their feet, even ghosts appreciate a comfy spot. Local legend says it's Big Al's haunt, a hard-drinking iron miner with a lifelong knack for dodging the tab. Though he hung up his pickaxe decades ago and, truth be told, skipped out on his final bar bill, Big Al's ghostly happy hour is an open secret. Staff swear the stool creaks around closing time with no one in sight, unless you count invisible miners as regulars. Sometimes a sudden chill hits, or a wisp of cigar smoke. Al's signature cologne floats by. Try reupholstering that seat and expect tools to mysteriously vanish or duct tape to peel itself off. Tourists snap photos, only to find eerie blurs hovering over the stool afterward. Skeptics blame drafty windows, but bartenders still pour a whiskey for Big Al. After all, even ghosts hate the hassle of standing to order their drinks. While the ghost claims his seat, beneath the floor lie secret tunnels, weaving tales of smugglers. Ever wondered if every old English pub hides a secret smuggler's labyrinth, just waiting for a tipsy adventurer armed with a pint and a pickaxe? The popular myth insists those pub cellars and mysterious passageways were carved out solely for booze smuggling, tax dodging, or Hollywood-worthy escapes from the law. Reality, alas, is a touch less dazzling. Most tunnels under pubs were dug for thrills like drainage or rolling barrels of ale, not midnight dashes with contraband in hand. In truth, many smuggler tunnels were just boring bits of city infrastructure, or the overambitious dreams of someone's expansion plan, or a disastrously misjudged keg delivery. The legend lives on thanks to local lore, curious tourists, and anyone a few pints deep with a vivid imagination. Sure, some tunnels had shady dealings, but nowhere near as many as the tall tales claim. So next time you fancy yourself a pint-fueled Ocean's 11, remember, pub tunnels are usually more plumber's union than pirate crew. Cheers to fact deliciously blurring into fiction. These hidden passages whispered legends, including that of the bottomless ale bottle that never runs dry. Raise your glass and picture this, a pint that defies physics, a bottomless brew every pub-goer dreams of. Every classic Irish pub tale whispers of the eternally full pint, a vessel so generous it could drown your sorrows and then float your spirits right back up. It's the universal wish, for the tragic clink of an empty glass to be as rare as free Wi-Fi in a dive bar. Cultures worldwide spin yarns of magical self-filling cups, Thor's horn, the cornucopia, and, if you ask around, Uncle Seamus's mysteriously endless Guinness. The idea crosses continents, proving we all secretly dream of banishing bar queues forever. But here's the buzzkill. Science. Beer still obeys the laws of liquid dynamics. And gravity. Well, it never skips the party. Sorry, Newton, you win this round. Even modern miracles like table taps or ordering pints by app only postpone the inevitable drought. The eternal pint? It's wishful thinking's proud mascot, right alongside calorie-free pizza. Always tempting. Never true. Yet even an empty glass performs a miracle. It unites us for one more jovial round, filling the pub with laughter. Maybe not with beer, but with spirits all the same. Yet not all is joyous. A banshee lurks behind the bar, wailing curses upon poor tippers. Forget the Grim Reaper. If you're a cheapskate in a restaurant, it's the wailing woman you really need to fear. Legend has it, every time a hapless server flips open a bill sporting a paltry tip, mournful cries ripple through the dining room, striking terror, or at least severe annoyance, into patrons' hearts. Don't worry, despite the myth, leaving 5% won't literally summon a banshee, although your waiter's icy glare might suggest otherwise. Enter La Llorona, the original sobbing specter of Mexican folklore. Famous for weeping over her lost children and doling out supernatural curses, she's now moonlighting in modern eateries, mourning single quarters left on a $50 tab. That chilly shiver down your spine. Is it supernatural or just a guilt-induced draft? Anecdotally, 66% of servers claim stingy tippers haunt their dreams. A statistic lacking scientific proof, but spot on emotionally. Research shows public shaming transforms tipping behavior faster than any ancient curse could. So ghosts? Nope. Karma and group chats outing bad tippers? Terrifyingly real. Tip generously, or risk becoming the next campfire cautionary tale. Guided by eerie cries, a lantern-lit ghost appears, leading lost souls safely home from the pub's grasp. The perfect pub crawl always ends with a friendly ghost holding your hand, right? Well, local folklore certainly insists so. After one too many pints, there's nothing quite like a lantern-wielding spirit escorting you home, steering you clear of ditches, and maybe, just maybe, sparing you from tomorrow's epic embarrassment. In these tales, the glowing phantom isn't just a ghostly good Samaritan. He's basically a spectral Uber driver who refuses tips, but happily charges you a toll on your dignity. This charming legend has roots in British and Irish fireside stories, spirits lighting the way for late-night wanderers, armed with flickering lanterns and impeccable dramatic timing. Meanwhile, science offers a far less romantic take. Will-o'-the-wisps, thanks to marsh gas, bioluminescent fungi, or, let's be honest, your notoriously blurry vision after a heroic pub night are much likelier guides than Casper himself. Psychology chips in too. After midnight and 4 ales, the imagination gallops off into the supernatural. To spice things up, some locals even don ghostly costumes, proving that the designated driver tradition has always loved a bit of flair. Nowadays, though, that friendly ghost is probably your phone buzzing. Turn left at the cemetery, ignore the groaning. But shadows persist. The dripping cask, stained with blood, holds dark secrets of a bygone murder. Nothing kills the flavor of ale faster than a side of homicide mystery with your pint. Yet here we are at the Drunken Badger, where patrons nurse lagers while whispering about the suspicious crimson smear gleaming on an old oak cask in the corner. Spill of wine. Or is local folklore onto something with its tale of a landlord slain in a heated dart duel? Experts, who apparently haunt pubs more than crime scenes, point out blood proteins can lurk in porous wood for ages, refusing to fade even after a vigorous scrub. Suddenly, forensics class feels oddly relevant. Pub memorabilia becomes Exhibit A. Sure, someone could swab the cask for ancient hemoglobin, but who wants CSI? Stout edition crashing happy hour? Besides, the pub insists it's just their signature Irish red ale. Now, neighborhood ghost hunters have commandeered the tale, and Haunted Pint Night means the only thing stronger than the drinks is the collective dread. Whatever the truth, the stains become a tourist draw. There's even a Crimson Cask t-shirt. Thankfully, no one's ordering Bloody Marys. And deeper troubles arise with the mischievous hobgoblin, spoiling brews unless appeased. Who knew your beer harbored its own pint-sized troublemaker? Enter the Hopgoblin. Not a fancy IPA, but a mischievous sprite long blamed for every spoiled batch. Before brewers embraced science or mere hygiene, the Hopgoblin gleefully got the blame for sour suds and funky flavors. If your ale tasted like old cabbage, clearly some invisible gremlin had been sneaking in after hours. But here's the real kicker. It's the hops themselves, the fragrant flowers, that pack genuine preservative punch. No need to leave offerings for fairy folk when you've got alpha acids on your side. Spoilage? That's the handiwork of bacteria, not hobgoblins or enchanted kegs. The myth took hold because, let's be honest, the yeast went rogue just doesn't sound as epic as we were outwitted by supernatural pranksters. So, 3 cheers for science. Today's brewers rely on pasteurization, not exorcisms. And if you ever spot a real goblin in your glass, well, it's probably time to call last round. Here's to modern brewing and goblin sightings dropping faster than your first cold one. As the goblin plays tricks, so too do mysterious forces cause pies and pasties to vanish at closing time. Every bakery has a closing ritual, but ours, it's more like a disappearing act from a culinary cabaret, abracadabra, and poof. The pies have vanished. Staff swear there's a pastry poltergeist at work, but this mystery wouldn't stump Sherlock Holmes. Enter the legendary Midnight Muncher, rumored to haunt the pastry case after hours, perhaps draped in a cloak stitched from discarded doilies. Truth is, it's far less spooky and a lot more snack-driven. Those disappearing pastries? Mostly spirited away into staff goodie bags or snapped up by last-minute sugar seekers scoring discounts. Owners are sticklers. Leftovers must be eaten, donated, or tossed out. Not a crumb escapes their hawk eyes in meticulous inventory tallies. Sure, some whisper about secret recipes for moving inventory fast, passed down like sacred scrolls. Conspiracy theorists even murmur about pie syndicates operating in the shadows. But so far, the only evidence is a suspiciously empty shelf and a staff room suspiciously full. Turns out, human hunger has perfect timing, especially at 5:59 p.m. Amid these mysteries, an invisible toast echoes, marked by a clinking glass with no owner. Picture this. You're sitting alone, the air is still, yet you hear the chime of glass, and your social life is as dry as your cupboards. Classic horror movie logic insists this must be a spectral cocktail hour. Ghosts clinking glasses, raising a toast to your loneliness, and probably swiping your best wine. Popular myth leaps in. That sound? Undoubtedly the handiwork of restless spirits or poltergeists earning their bartending certificates. But reality? Your house is less haunted speakeasy and more jerry-rigged science experiment. Shifting foundations, temperature swings, or maybe a cat with dreams of being Tom Cruise in Cocktail could all be suspects. Glasses develop stress cracks, and hours later, pop! Nature's haunted toast rings out. And let's not forget, in old homes, sound bounces through pipes and walls, turning your plumbing into an accidental sound system. Living above a bar? Congrats, you've got free surround sound. So your mysterious midnight mixology? Less supernatural seance, more physics finally cashing its check. Cheers to that. Some say it's linked to enchanted seating, tables where sitting may bring fortune or doom. Ever feel like your luck takes a full 180 the moment you plop down at the unlucky end of the dinner table? You're in good company. For centuries, seats have been handed mystical blame, mainly for when the gravy inevitably takes a detour straight into Aunt Marge's lap. Back in the day, special spots around the table were revered, feared, or, worst of all, reserved for the family's grumpiest matriarch. And who could forget the infamous 13th seat at lengthy tables, said to be cursed with more bad luck than a bowl of soggy croutons? Today, some folks still dodge the corner seat. But is it really jinxed, or just dangerously close to the broccoli? Science weighs in. It's expectations, not chair choice, that flavor your dinner fate. Sorry, Aunt Marge, the real hazard might just be sitting under that leaky light fixture. No research has proven your unlucky streak is seat-related, unless you consider ending up next to Uncle Bob or right by the dessert tray, which statistically is where the real fortune smiles. Cultures may differ, but the universe? It just wants you to pass the rolls. Below such tables, the drafty cellar harbors a haunting mermaid spirit, singing her eerie song. On stormy nights, the old Shipwrights Inn insists their bottles aren't the only things swimming under the floorboards. Patrons exchange wary glances. Was that a fin flick, or just the ale playing tricks? Local legend holds it's a finned femme fatale who crashes more than barrels, upsetting happy hours with a flick of her tail and a mischievous splash. Forget beer goggles, this is seeing through actual sea spray. They say she rattles kegs, knots hoses, and leaves mysterious puddles that even the bartender's most desperate mop won't touch. Spill your pint, and seasoned regulars warn you'll hear giggles bubbling up from the murky depths below. One brave landlord once trailed a soggy path into the cellar, emerging whiter than a stout's foam. Skeptics blame busted pipes, but even plumbers refuse to venture below after sundown. Now, the cellar door bears a warning. Beware. Mermaid on duty. Visitors hunting mermaid selfies often leave with soggy shoes, lighter wallets, and ale so fresh it comes with its own fishy aftertaste. So next time you order a salty-rimmed cocktail, remember, she haunts the cellar, but at least she never drinks and dives. Above, the timeless tavern clock freezes at moments recalling historic tragedies tied to these hauntings. Legend has it the pub clock freezes whenever disaster strikes, a blitzed beacon of doom casting doubt on both timekeeping and tavern superstition. Townsfolk whisper the hand stalled during floods, monarchic maladies, and most scarring of all, their soul-crushing darts defeat to the next village. If the clock truly paused at every calamity, it'd spend the entire football season frozen at kickoff, probably traumatized from reliving local league mediocrity. The myth endures. It hasn't moved since the Great Flood. Or maybe when Dave's karaoke was so off-key, even time gave up. It's oddly comforting, tying fate to wonky gears as if destiny pulls up a bar stool each night. In truth, stopped clocks usually fall victim to rusty mechanisms, missed windings, or the occasional tipsy handyman fumbling a screwdriver. Mysterious stoppages almost always coincide with happy hour mishaps or power blinks, hardly the ghostly omens legend claims. Yet the tale ticks on, even as batteries die and generations grow up blaming the clock for everything. Maybe our love of haunted timepieces says less about misfortune and more about our need to remember, retell, and order another round that Barry still owes. The curse deepens with the dead man's keg. Partake and invite endless misfortune. Picture this. You're at the peak of a wild party, arms stretched out for a fresh pour, when a sly whisper stops you mid-swig. Careful, that's the dead man's keg. Suddenly, visions of doom flash before your eyes. Failed finals, epic breakups, and a future spent desperately hunting for lost keys. This urban legend, hatched in sticky college dorm halls and tailgate parking lots, always shows up right around the second round of Jell-O shots. So what earns a keg the dead man's title? Last week's leftovers, a cloud of questionable hygiene, or a mysterious container that nobody claims. Friends swear awful fates befall anyone who drinks from it. But honestly, if beer really cursed you, St. Patrick's Day would be a disaster zone. The truth? Keg beer can't hex you, but tepid, backwashed swill just might curse your taste buds, and possibly your entire weekend. Maybe the myth sticks because blame the keg beats admitting you can't handle your liquor, or your dignity during karaoke. For real bad luck, try ignoring expiration dates or doing a tap-hop dance with a full pitcher. Cheers to that! Yet not all spirits are seen plainly. Some manifest only through swirling smoke rings. Ever notice how ghosts love making their grand entrance through swirling pipe smoke, as if they're auditioning for a detective noir flick? Picture it. A Victorian gent leisurely puffing on his pipe, when suddenly a specter materializes from the haze like it's got a dinner reservation. It's as if ghosts are shy, needing a tobacco-scented fog bank before dishing out their big reveal. Or maybe they just fancy a bit of atmospheric flair. The idea that spirits need a puff of pipe smoke to manifest comes straight from our obsession with spooky tales, old seances, and Victorian melodrama. Those Victorians adored their seances almost as much as their verbose novels, and the image stuck. But here's the reality check. Scientific studies haven't found any metaphysical fondness for cherry tobacco, sandalwood, or even forest pine surprise. The real trick? Smoke is the ultimate optical illusion. Those thick clouds mess with our brains, making us spot faces or phantom figures. A neat little quirk called pareidolia. Mediums claimed it helped the energy, while skeptics suggested cracking a window. Nowadays, ghost hunters rely on EMF meters, not Grandpa's pipe. No wonder ghost sightings plummeted after smoking bans. Those poor spirits just can't catch a break. And when the pipe smoke clears, the singing walls take over, echoing whispered songs past midnight. The witching hour delivers more than just creaky floors. At midnight, your apartment walls moonlight as reluctant jukeboxes. One moment, blissful silence. The next, faint music weaves sneakily into your dreams. Urban legend? Ghostly serenaders or a secret squad of nocturnal DJs next door? Spoiler, no spectral Elvis crooning "Love Me Tender," just your neighbor's dubious taste in power ballads. The truth is less supernatural, more acoustical. As city noise dies down and buildings cool off, walls tighten up, carrying sound further. Mix that with apartment walls thinner than the plot of a daytime soap opera, and suddenly, everyone's a part-time concert goer. Privacy? Clearly overrated. right alongside a decent night's sleep. Every late-night Spotify binge or off-key karaoke becomes tomorrow's hot gossip, or nightmare fuel. Echoes turn Twinkle Twinkle into a horror movie score. Your options? Harmonious harmony, or the universal broom-thumping chorus. Welcome to communal living, where sleep aids pale next to muffled 1 a.m. techno beats.